everybody. This is Football Psych. I'm Coach
Hey, the Lord Sarge here for ya.
All right, well, welcome, Large Sarge. I did not think we're going to have Shaq on tonight. Shaq was snowed in. He was traveling back from LA, and I don't think he got back into DC because y'all got snow up there.
They got a lot of snow, but he was coming from California, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's coming from California, but I don't think I think the flight got canceled coming into DC. And for those of y'all who don't know, I'm in Florida, so we're like all over the flipping place.
Oh,
but
my Lord!
The show must go on, and we have Commanders football, big old win against the Dallas Cowboys, and our fans disagreed with us, Large Sarge.
Oh my Lord! Did they ever?
Because we said on our show, we were just like, "Hey, they should rest players." And what did the fans come back and say? Because you took a poll.
I did a poll out there, and the poll was about us resting. You know, basically what we were talking about. Are we going to rest our guys? What should DQ do, right? Do we rest our guys and get ready for Philly? Or do we go for broke and take Dallas out of the house and play our guys? So the three people in the poll were Jayden Daniels, of course, B-Rob, and Lattimore. Lattimore's injured, so that didn't really count. 33% of our fans off of YouTube said we should rest Jayden Daniels. Only 33%. Yep. So the vast majority of our fans said, no, hell no, he's going to play. The other side of that was, should we rest the first team completely? And 67% said no.
Wow.
So
I think it's because it was the Cowboys. You think if it was any other team besides the Cowboys that the numbers might have been different?
Oh, yeah, for sure, right? For sure.
I will tell you, I think our fan base is like, beat the Cowboys no matter what.
Yep. Absolutely.
Like, who cares about next week? We just want to beat Dallas.
Yep.
Yeah, we did that, right?
It's got to be that way, right? It's just got to be.
Jack's on the show. Welcome, Jack. How you doing, buddy? Nice to have you on here. And yeah, I agree with you. We are a second half football team, but we're going to definitely get into that today.
Oh man. So for some reason, I am not able to bring up I'm not able to bring up comments here. Hold a second.
I got them right here.
We got a slight technical difficulty.
Technical difficulties from Large Sarge.
I got my own comments in here, but I don't see where we go to get our
We had some other technical difficulties too, because Shaq sent me a couple of videos because he was at the game. Or was he at the game? No, he was in LA.
He was in LA. He was on a cruise. He was on a booze
cruise. He was on a cruise ship, and he was filming from the cruise ship and telling us about the game and his comments. And I got his comments, but I cannot show his videos because those were 33 meg videos, and I couldn't move them from my phone to my laptop in order to make this work. So I'm having technical difficulties too. A 30-second video. How is a 30-second video 33 megs?
That is crazy.
I have no idea, man. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm an old dude, man. I don't know how that technology works.
That is crazy.
Oh my goodness, man. All right, so what are we going to talk about today, Large Sarge?
Well, we're gonna go over the game, of course, right? Because there's a lot to talk about in that game. And of course, there's a lot to talk about as we come into the to the playoffs here.
Playoffs.
Commanders made the playoffs.
Man, we did not predict that at the beginning of the year.
Oh dear Lord, were we wrong? I was wrong. I say I'm wrong. I called 9 games. What'd you call there, Coach?
I called 8.
8,
and you know what? They achieved that goal. They got 8 games.
I think Shaq called less than that, didn't he?
He started off at like 7 or 8, and then he dropped to 5 when he just really didn't like how the offseason was going. But like we had a couple fans who I thought were delusional because they were starting to say like 11 games. And it's like, dude, you're crazy. And here we are at 12-5. And who would have thought, man?
I'm
baffled.
I'm flabbergasted.
You
know, Lady Luck has sure been on our side.
My goodness.
It's been 4 games we've won in the last minute this year. 4 games. And Lady Luck has been on our side every single one of those games. You know,
like I remember at the beginning of the year, like how much I really did not like the Dan Quinn hire. I was very weary about Adam Peters because, you know, here he was the backup and, you know, to to Lynch in San Francisco. And I'm just like, is this guy really ready for this opportunity? Everybody said he was. And then it's like everything turned over. And then we weren't making any big splashes, but we were like looking for bargain deals out there. And we were kind of putting it in a team. We were firing people left and right. Everything turned over. And I was just like, we have no idea what this team's going to look like. Yep. But if we could just do better than we did last year when we only won 4 games, if we could double that, that's a successful season.
Yep.
Wow, we have far exceeded that. We're in the playoffs.
It all came together. So let's look at some stat lines first there, Coach.
All right.
Couple huge stat lines that we have for this team that no one would have there's not any way you could have guessed this. First of all, Scary Terry set a new Redskins/Commanders franchise record, 13 catching touchdowns in a season. Catching Gary Clark.
I am so happy.
After last week, I didn't think he was going to get it.
And Shaq sent a message, and he wanted to say, like in his video, he said, it almost made him cry. He's so proud of Terry McLaurin and the work he's done. I mean, and it's just one of those things. It's like, wow, I got handed to it too, because Terry McLaurin, ever since he was drafted onto his team, he's gone through it seems like 100 quarterbacks. Yeah, he's just like, man, just somebody needs to just give me the ball.
Whoa, he found somebody. I tell you,
somebody give him the ball.
It wasn't JD. It wasn't JD. Mariota.
Marcus Mariota, I will tell you, took advantage of an extraordinary opportunity in the second half of this game.
That boy walked in with it.
That wasn't planned.
Mm-hmm.
I researched it. It was not planned for Mariota to come in.
What?
It was not planned. It seemed like it because he played the whole second half. And I'm just like, oh, this was a planned deal. It was not planned. It was one of those things where, I researched it and they said, no, Dan Quinn came out there. I'll read the quote for you that he said, because he was asked about this. He was like, hey, is Jayden Daniels hurt? What's the deal with him? Is that the reason why you subbed, or was it planned? And, so Dan Quinn was asked specifically because it just seemed like this was a planned move to have Mariota play the second half. And this is what Dan Quinn said. He goes, no, it wasn't a plan going in. We thought we were going with, and I'll paraphrase Daniels, we thought we were going with him all the way. Mm. But he had some minor soreness in his leg. And just kind of made the decision, honestly, to say, hey, let's just give Mariota a shot. It felt like it was going to be a game where they were really playing upfield. We were going to have to use the quarterback's legs more. And so it was just my decision, but it wasn't predetermined. I just thought it was a way to get things going.
Interesting. So, Coach, I always watch the on NFL.com. I'm not plugging them, by the way, but I have a subscription, and I watch the coach's film. And Jayden did get hurt in the game in the first quarter. He had some kind of thigh injury, and they mentioned it. I was like, because I was with you. I was like, did they just decide they were going to play him, half the game, then pull him out because they needed to change of pace? Was it planned? So he actually did get hurt in the game. And I'm wondering if that's not just, DQ just covering it up a little bit. But
it's just very interesting, right? Yeah. But I think based off of his comments, he's just like, okay, he's nicked up a little bit. Why continue to chance it? Mm-hmm. And let's just throw Mariota. I found the timing interesting because it was the whole second half where it looked like it was planned, and we were down by 6 points at the time.
Yep.
It's not the time you take your starting quarterback out if you really intend on winning the game.
Right. So that tells me it was an injury.
So it seems like it was something more. And then to see Mariota took an opportunity when you have a backup quarterback that gets the second half of the last game of the season, you got to call that for what it is. Mm-hmm. It's an audition. It's an audition of, hey, we're getting ready to see, out of everything that we've been working with you on all year, are you going to be our backup next year, or are you planning to be on another team, or are you going to be out of the NFL?
Right.
This makes or breaks quarterbacks in this opportunity. And Mariota knew it. And when he went in there, dude played his butt off.
He had I mean, for one half of football, that guy turned that team around in 1 second and put up 2 touchdowns, got the scoring drive on his legs, put it into Terry McLaurin's hands at the end. It's amazing. But you know what? What other record we hit?
What other record we hit?
Jaden Daniels is the only player. You ready for this? The only player in the history of the NFL, the NFL.
He's got a history of the NFL already as a rookie.
3,500 passing yards, 850 plus running yards, and 5+ run TDs. He's the only guy in the NFL history to do it.
Wow.
Now that is some kind of record for a rookie. If that does not make him rookie of the year, I don't know what does.
And out of all the running quarterbacks out there, like that's the record.
Even with this flop of a game that he had, and which we'll get into in stats, that's after this flop of a game he had.
Yeah, he had a horrible game statistically.
Oh my God. So the other great thing about the Redskins / the Commanders here, I got my Washington on. You got
wristbands? That's old school right there, wristbands.
So we have been under 50% in scoring since 2017. So our offense has scored less points than half the league since 2017. This is the first time we've been above that. We're in the top 5 scoring. 29.5 points a game, I think was the average.
We've got a couple of decades of mediocrity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 2017, it's almost 10 years since we've had an offense that could consistently put up 25 points plus a game, right? So pretty amazing stats. So I was really, when you look back at the season after 18 weeks, I'm really sad. Like I was sad yesterday. I'm like, oh man, it's over. What am I going to do at the liquor store? There's nothing for me to do. Because all the people come in and want to know what the scores are and stuff. So my overall comments on this game, I'm going to go through them here real quick, and I want you to respond to it there, Coach. Where the hell has our run game been for the last 3 weeks? And is our O-line that bad? I want to get into that.
Okay, well, let's do it.
How to stay Daniels free without any planned runs? Why couldn't we take it? You want to do that first one first?
Yeah, I mean, take them as they come, bro.
All right.
So, I think that's a good one. You raised up a really important discussion. Where is the run game? Shaq said it too in his video. He was just like, there is no run game in this one. We had no run game. And I will tell you, I do not put this on Brian Robinson at all. You and I talked about this after the game. We were actually talking about it a little bit during the game. Our O-line is that atrocious. By the time you snap back with the ball, and I don't care if you got Mariota back there or you got Jaden Daniels back there, by the time he turns around to hand the ball off, there's already defenders in the backfield.
They were through.
That O-line cannot run block for Jack. So it just tells me the fact that Brian Robinson's got many yards as he has this season is a testament to how good he is. But I don't care what running back you put down back there. With how bad their offensive line is on run blocking, it's just not good.
So, Coach, how many subs did we have in this week on the O-line?
Well, Cosme had to come out.
Right. But we had 2 subs still, right?
I think it changed a little bit as the game progressed.
Or just 1 sub?
It was 1, but Lucas was all right. So Jack said Lucas was out.
Yeah, Biadasz was out. Our center was out. Biadasz was out.
Yeah, Badass was out.
Lucas. Okay, so those 2 guys made.
Cosme came out for part of the game, so there was a hodgepodge of O-line, and it's just not good. And I'm not a huge fan of Wiley to begin with, and Aguilera has sucked all year, so I've not been a fan of him. Aguilera needs, or whatever his name, Aguiletti or whatever, flip his name. He needs to be off the roster.
Yeah.
In the offseason. We need to go and get another left guard.
Yeah.
But this team is just offensively, this line, man, I just want to hold it up because I want to continue to win playoff games. But this O-line is atrocious.
So we lost our center. We lost Lucas. Cosme was out for part of it, even though he was looking like pudding anyway. So we did not have our best offensive line in the game. And clearly with the guys that were coming, the first The first play of the game was a sack.
Well, Lucas is not supposed to. Well, hold on a second. Look, Lucas is not supposed to be the starter. It's supposed to be Brandon Coleman at left tackle.
Right, he's a backup, yeah.
So, like, Lucas is supposed to be the backup. Now, he's gotten a lot of starts. Like, at the beginning of the season, he was starting all the time. But then what's happened is, like, Wiley's missed some time, and we've had to move Lucas to the right side. We've moved these offensive linemen around a little bit to kind of make up and hold down spots. But, you know.
So it's just a patchwork offensive line that coming into the season we would have rated as average at best. And then they've reduced since then. So we've been playing with something below average on our offensive line.
I actually thought they were below average at the beginning of the season. I actually think that they started off playing above what I thought that they were. Like I had them graded out like a D+, but when they started off, they were actually playing probably like at a high C.
They're playing higher than what they should have.
Yeah, and now you're starting to see what they really are. And one thing that's interesting about playoff football is playoff football, everybody's good.
Yeah.
They will expose you for who you are.
Yeah.
Because they've got a whole season on film. Like, there's no secrets anymore.
Right.
Like, they know exactly every weakness that there is. And you got some
film to watch.
You got people who are paid millions of dollars to break that crap down.
Yep.
Like, there's no secrets anymore, and they're gonna expose this offensive line left and right. So I don't see much of a running game. I agree with Jack. B-Rob's probably still not 100%, and so but that O line is not helping them at all.
Yeah. All right. So that brings up another question. So how do we, in that kind of a situation, with Dallas shedding through us like they did, which Tampa Bay is going to do? They're going to do that same thing. How do we shake JD free without any planned runs? How do we spin him out, Coach? How do we get him out to the side, rolling out, and get him opportunities away from where the pressure is?
All right, so there's a couple of things. One thing that I've noticed about JD's play is he always rolls right. That's a little concerning to me. Every time, it's almost on every play he runs right. And then he has a tendency to run out of bounds, even if it's for lost yardage. So I'm going to tell you
he did that a couple times.
Yeah, so there's a couple things I'd like to see off of Jayden Daniels, and I've been trying to critique him throughout the year in hopes that he'll get better. But this is one area he needs to improve on. Like when you roll out and the play's not there, throw the ball away rather than run out of bounds for a lost yardage.
Yeah, I saw him in the second half.
That's just something you have to learn.
Yeah,
why lose the yardage?
Second half, he ran out 4 yards deep and didn't throw the ball away. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, why are you not throwing the ball away?
What are you doing, JD?
Yeah, I think it's a coaching thing with him. He's still a rookie. I think sometimes we forget about that because, he does so many things that are good, but there's some fundamental things that he's not doing. If you are going to roll him out and he's not going to go for it, and he's going to come up short, he feels safe by running out of bounds, which I'd rather him do that than take the hit. But what I'd like to see him add to his game is throw it out of bounds rather than take a 4-yard loss. Throw it out. It's a loss of down
Jack
anyway.
is saying we got to get back to using double tight end sets and doing more chips, and I totally agree.
I agree with that too.
We need to get Bates and Luke and Zach Ertz more involved, but not so much Zach as Bates and McCaffrey. I think they need to be put into the game plan much more strongly so that he has more options, and use Eckler as your relief to the other side, right?
Yeah, I agree with all that. But going back to Jayden Daniels' part, of whether or not he's going to have design runs, I'm a pocket passer kind of guy, right?
Me too.
I have no problem with him taking off as long as he gets down and he gets out of bounds. I don't like that he's a leading rusher, but that is the identity of our team. For some reason, I don't like it, but it is what it is, right? So I would rather you try to stay in the pocket a little bit more. The guys are pass blocking a hell of a lot better than they are run blocking because they can't run block for crap. I think they're trying to pass block on just about everything. So it should buy you a little bit of time to get down there. And I think he's okay, but there's sometimes he just gives up on it way too quick. It's like you could tell he doesn't believe in his offensive line either.
Yeah, I agree. So how can we sustain this their coach, quarterbacks with more rush yards than the entire running back core. Can we sustain it through the playoffs, or does something have to change?
I think it's too late to make a change. One, I think the offensive line is too bad to make it. I think you got to try to get B-Rob in the game, because when B-Rob is pounding the rock, we are a better football team. I said that all year, and I still believe it. If we can move the ball, if he's getting 15-plus carries, I want to see him above 20 carries in the game. If B-Rob is doing that well, which we didn't rest him as much as I like to. Like, I've been talking about this for 3 weeks too. Arrest him so you have him fresh for the playoffs. He's still, like what Jack says, he's not 100%. So, like, you got to be able to run him and run him hard. And if we're effectively, everything else opens up. If not, we're one-dimensional.
So
and
let's
James
get into
Daniels
some of
is
those
the
stats,
running.
Coach. Let's get into some of those stats, because I hear you, but DQ is not hearing you. Okay, so here.
And I know DQ watches the show, man. So pay attention here.
But he needs to. Do you know why? B-Rob only had 5 touches for 10 yards, 2 yards a carry. 5 times they gave him the ball on the ground. They didn't give Rodriguez or the other guy any touches in rushing. They gave De'Ami Brown 1 touch for 8 yards, and Eckler got 3 for 24.
Yeah.
That is not good game planning, in my opinion.
Nichols wasn't in there at all. And you're right. Like,
it was ugly.
There was no rushing by Chris Rodriguez either. So, like,
what are you doing?
It was like they basically gave up on the run. I think what happened was B-Rob got stuffed a few times. I mean, when you run 5 carries and you only get 10 yards, and he's your best running back, you got issues. And I think they abandoned it early.
But I agree with Jack. Throw in an extra tight end. You know what I saw Dallas do, which shocked me? They put a fullback in.
Yep, use a fullback.
And guess what happened?
You and I are old school, though.
Chicken dance and punched through that defense and picked up 10 yards, 9 yards, 8 yards as a fullback.
I know I'm old school, but that's the reason why I like Jim Harbaugh kind of football, right? Like, I like fullbacks. Like, fullbacks to me, like, are one of the most underrated positions that there are out there. But to me, I know you're not like in the spotlight, but holy cow, like, you are so damn important, and teams have gotten away from them. And I will tell you, it works. Fullbacks work.
How? I mean, how? Or even if you don't want to go with a fullback, go with at least a power back, B-Rob, and Eckler as your scat back, right? And put him in an eye.
Yeah,
but somebody get in front of somebody to block somebody, right?
Yeah, but your power back in essence is the fullback for that play.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, and you could do the same thing with the tight end. We've done that with John Bates quite a bit.
He's not bad. Bates is not bad in that role.
And he's not bad in it. So we used to call that the old H-back kind of rule, right? Yeah. Where you're a tight end, but there's certain plays you come in, you play fullback. Like you're diversified. Chris Cooley used to play that kind of role really, really well.
Yeah.
I think we use John Bates a lot in that role. Yeah, I miss old Chris Cooley, man. And
Remember that?
Yeah. And I think John Bates mostly does that. As a matter of fact, I think he does that better than it being a receiving tight end most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big, beefy body. All right, I didn't want to get into it. I'm not going to even ask the question, but I need to ask this because something's definitely wrong. 6 sacks? We allowed 6 sacks?
So part of that is the Micah Parsons effect.
He had 2.
Well, yeah, but also just the very fact that he draws a lot of double coverages. So even though he has 2, most plays you're having to freaking really block the living crap out of him, and it creates opportunities for other players too.
Yep.
And so he's just that much of a havoc. It was funny because I'm going to share a quick story. I was in the bar watching the game, and over here, and there was a Dallas guy that was in there. In a sea of Commanders fans that were watching the game, there was a Dallas guy in there. He sat right behind me at the next table. And I turned around at him because when Micah Parsons made that sack, he started going like, Micah Parsons in your face. When I turned around and I said, Micah Parsons is going to be a Commander next year.
Oh!
He looked at me with big eyeballs like, what? He goes, I hope not. I'm just like, man, we're going to take him from you guys so quick.
Oh, my God. And we could. We totally could.
We totally could because Dan Quinn and him are buddies. We would snatch that up. So
he's definitely got his people around him. Yeah, Jack is saying Ben Sinnott could also be a really good guy in that block scheme. Throw him in as a fullback. Yeah, they need to change up something. We're in the playoffs. Something has to change. We cannot do what we did the last 3 or 4 games rushing. We're not going to win. We're not going to beat Tampa Bay that way.
So what I think that they're going to do is I think they're going to try to pound the rock with B-Rob. I mean, you got to go back and you got to look at that Tampa Bay film when we played them in week 1, where we were a whole completely different team than we are right now. But then watch, like, how much is Tampa Bay good at defending the run, right? Where are those holes at? And where can you game plan in order to pull offensive linemen in a certain way, work with the tight ends and the H-back kind of role to create holes for B-Rob to go through. And B-Rob, if he's hobbling a little bit, guess what, man? It's the playoffs. You're going to have to rub some icy hot on it, take a cortisone shot, and freaking just play ball, man. Or 5, just start jabbing yourself with cortisone shots, man, and freaking
final block.
So listen, playoffs, man.
Everyone knows my mom. Shout out to Lisa out there. Is out there watching tonight. She's out there. She's a diehard Dallas fan.
We love you, Mom.
She's my mom. I can't hate her for it. I love her for it. And she's pulling for my Lions, so I can't worry about that. But there's no one in the world that loves to see Dallas beat the Redskins more than my mom. So
that's the one part. I'm sorry, Mom. I don't agree with you on.
My niece, who lives up there, is a diehard Skins fan. So they give each other crap. They watch the game. She's 18. She's 83. And they get it together and they watch the game together. And my little niece, cool. Lena, shout out to you, Lena, turns to my mom and says, you're not going to believe this. How come we have to have every game be so close? And when my mom told me this, I'm like, yeah, it's ridiculous how we love it. And what do? I'm stupid. I'm online today. I go watch DQs after game review. And they asked Dan Quinn, what do you think about all these tight games? And you know what Dan Quinn's response was?
He likes it.
I love these tight games. I love it. But I'm like, are you stupid?
How about making a decisive win? I like decisive win games. Yeah. I like games where they're decisive and you kick their freaking butt and there's no deal. I want to be bored in the fourth quarter.
So
because we're winning so bad.
I heard that from Dan Quinn and I'm just like, oh Lord, yeah. Well, it was nice to get to the playoffs because the Bucs are going to kick our butt, but we'll see.
Kick our butt. Come on.
We'll see.
So let's talk about the Bucs game. Or we got to talk defense.
Oh no, we got to talk offense. So
I thought we just did.
No, we touched offense. There's so much to talk about. So our total rushing yards in the game was 113.
That's not bad.
Well, it's worse when you look at it from this perspective. Mariota was 5 carries for 56, and Jaden Daniels was 4 carries for 27. Still more than the entire run back core.
Yeah, so that's like 75% of rushing yards to your quarterback.
Yeah. Our passing yards was 156.
Yeah, unsat.
Right? Daniels was 6 of 12 for 38 yards. He was completely out. Mariota was 15 of 18 for 161 and 2 TDs.
Yeah, this was Mariota's game. I mean, I think that was, Mariota has a similar but a little bit different playing style. The reason why Mariota, the more and more as the season gone on, the more and more I research this, I understand clearer today why Mariota was signed to this roster than I did when he was signed. When he was signed, I was just like, this is the worst move in the history of the freaking franchise. This is like sucks, makes no sense. We should have kept Howell. We should have done like all these other kind of like this was stupid. Like Mariota, like who had signed Mariota?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden we get him in here and I start researching this thing. And this RPO kind of style, which quite frankly I hate. but it is the style that we have. This is typical freaking Kingsbury freaking offense, right? Which I don't like the scheme. It's better than EB we had last year, but I still don't like Kingsbury, right? I don't like his offensive playing scheme. However, it's working, and the reason why Mariota is there is because they have that similar ability to execute this RPO kind of offense. That being said, though, the quarterbacks are still slightly different. Mariota has been trained through years and years of different types of coaches about staying in the flipping pocket.
Yep.
And so one thing I like about it is he does a better job of doing that just because of just sheer experience in the NFL.
Yeah, that's how he's built.
He knows how to do that. That hasn't translated into being able to get Jayden Daniels to learn all that yet, because he still, when he gets scared, he runs, right? And Jayden Daniels hasn't learned to throw the ball away yet. But Mariota has been sitting, stewing, waiting for an opportunity. This was his moment. He capitalized on it. Good job, Marcus Mariota. Good on you, buddy, because I crapped on you coming into this team, but I understand it a lot more now. I don't think he's going to be a starter in the NFL. I saw some surveys out there on that. I don't think he's going to be a starter again, but I think he bought him more time in the NFL with that audition tape.
I'll tell you what sold me on Mariota, finally, was not this week's game, the week prior, when we went to overtime. And the camera flashed to him putting his hand on Daniel's chest. And we learned afterwards what he told him, which is basically, this is your game to win. You need to take control and go win the game. That's what he told him. And it's like, oh, that's awesome. You know what I mean? That's awesome. That's what you want to hear from your BQ, right? Your backup QB. That's what you want to hear. I believe in you. You go take control of this game. And clearly, Jayden Daniels has said, okay, that's what the hell I'm going to do. And he did, right? But for Mariota to come in and throw the dimes that he threw, to have that, the one play I'm going to say I've seen all year that was a called quarterback run, which was executed to perfection and was the right play call at the right time, was that run where he picked up 39 yards, where they just snafu'd the hell out of Dallas' defense, and he picked up 39 yards. Now, the boy can't run that fast, but 39 yards, it put us in playing position. And then DQ doesn't manage the clock. So it all came down to Mariota's arm and Scary Terry making the catch of the century again.
Yeah, and you made this comment too. You made the comment when I talked to you about this play. If that was Jayden Daniels that ran that exact same play, he would have broke it to the house.
I think so.
Mariota is probably not as fast. I wouldn't say he's slow, but he's obviously not as fast as Jayden Daniels.
If that was Jayden Daniels on that scat, I think Daniels would have hit the end zone. To be honest with you, but Mariota
yes, by far.
Mariota did great, and then for it to all come down with the clock, the screw ups with the clock and the play calling and getting us down to 6 seconds without. I was so angry. And then of course, even the commentators saying, okay, well, with 6 seconds left, you're going to go to the short side of the field on a single coverage. Every single commentator or anyone knows anything about football said, yeah, you got 6 seconds. You're going to throw the short side of the field. You're going to throw the corner. So how did Dallas not know that? And how did they not scheme against it? Mariota threw the perfect pass.
Yeah.
That guy threw the perfect pass.
Yeah, and it was a perfect pass. It was a great route. Obviously, Terry McLaurin had to jump. You're right. Like, how is it as a DB that you can't do it? But sometimes you just can't stop something. Like, you're only as talented as you are.
That was
right.
Late.
So, but like,
McLaurin was like, there's no way in hell I'm not catching this ball. That boy sailed 3. Did you see how high his feet were off the ground? He literally was over the back and clapped that ball and said, clap, take it back. I'm down. I'm out. We're done. He
wanted that ball, man. And that's what you want to see in a receiver. The guy who goes like, I want that freaking ball. It reminds me of the days of like the Detroit Lions, the old Calvin Johnson plays.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you throw it up, he's going to come down with it. I don't care if there's 4 defenders around him. He's going to get that freaking ball.
Jack is saying the DB had his hand in Terry's mouth. I didn't see that.
I didn't see that either. Oh, my God. He had it in his mouth. He's reaching for his tonsils or what?
I gotta go look at that. So we come away with a win that many people say we shouldn't have, but we did. and many people said we should have played our. We said we should have played our second team. We didn't because we were looking for positioning, and now we didn't get LA. We got Tampa Bay. So okay, great.
So that's crazy because we weren't tracking that at all. We thought it was either going to be Philly or we thought it was going to be friggin'
the Rams.
The Rams. It was either going to be Philly or the Rams, and then all of a sudden we got positioned at Tampa Bay. I was like a shock. Like we weren't tracking that at all. That it was going to seed out that way.
We didn't see that at all. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! But you know what? I kind of like Tampa Bay better than the Rams or better than Philly.
I do too. It's a revenge.
I think we came out better.
It's a revenge game.
And we want a revenge game from week 1, man, because we could have beat them back then.
Yep.
And I think we could beat them now. The only thing I don't like is I just don't know how beat up we are.
We're beat up.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we can stop Evans. Evans just he just tied the record with Jerry Rice for consecutive seasons of 1,000 yards. Evans is the man.
Evans is the man, but you know what? I'm going to put an asterisk next to Mike Evans on that because I did a little research on that, and I cannot give him full credit for that, even though it is statistically true against Jerry Rice.
Oh, do tell.
But the reason why I put an asterisk next to it is because Jerry Rice did that during 16-week seasons. We're in 17-week seasons.
Okay,
now.
Granted.
You get a whole nother game to make sure you get your 1,000 yards.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
that little trick has messed up a lot of people's records, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but to me, it's kind of like when way back in the day when we went from 14 games to 16 games, and all of a sudden all the NFL records are being broke again. And it's because, well, damn, you get 2 more games to do it.
Yeah,
we're living in that era right now where, hey, you got a whole extra game to do it. So it's just like, okay, I get it. A lot of these records are being broken, but like, are you really better? Like, what were your numbers at week 16?
Yeah.
Were they better?
Like everyone compared to Miami Dolphins' perfect season, right? They had a perfect season in less games, so it's harder to get
14 games back then, right?
Yeah. So, all right, let's talk some defense there, Coach.
All right.
So I'm just going to call out the stats for the players on defense, and you tell me what you think. Chin had a record game, 8 tackles, 5 assists, and 2 tackles for a loss. Sam Still, 7 tackles, 3 assists. Luvu, 6 tackles, 2 assists, and 1 tackle for a loss. Butler, who we haven't heard a lot about, 5 tackles and 2 assists. Believe it or not, Wagner, as much as his face was in the game and on the camera, only had 4 tackles and 4 assists, but he had 2 tackles for a loss. Allen got a sack.
Allen is back, baby. Allen is back.
So Allen was 2 tackles, an assist, 1 sack, and 1 tackle for a loss. Armstrong got his name in there with 2 tackles and a tackle for a loss. Fowler was 2 for 2. And a guy we don't ever hear about, Holmes. He had 2 assists and 1 tackle for a loss. So I thought that was a pretty strong showing on defense.
Yeah, defensively, we were looking pretty good. And you know what? You got to remember, like, when you're going up against Dallas, Dallas has great receivers.
Yeah.
And we were holding our own. So, like, I know next week we're going to be going up against Godwin and Evans and stuff like that. But, I mean, we are prepared. It's not like defensively we're not prepared.
Right.
And Wagner and Luvu in the middle are locking stuff up. Allen coming back. I love Allen being back because that really helps with Deron Payne and Johnny Newton. They can rotate in and out and keep each other fresh. And all 3 of them are playing at a high level.
Yeah.
I'll crap a little bit on our edge rushers, even though people don't agree with me on it. All they do is pass rush. They're not the best at run blocking on the outside, which we get eaten up on that from time to time, but I understand why they're doing it. Yeah. And then our secondary is coming along a little bit. Butler, the reason why Butler's playing more is because Quan Martin's not in there so much right now. He's dealing with some stuff. So, like, I think we're in an okay situation, but my problem is offensively. Offensively, we were absent the first half. Completely absent. We didn't wake up till the second half.
Do you think that was do you think that was a poor game plan coming in? Or do you think that was just talent on talent? Dallas's defense is just that much better than our offense.
It could have been a little bit of both, but I think our plan did not work. I think we made halftime adjustments. We were
It
like,
sure looks like it.
we had to make some serious halftime adjustments, and I think it helped by throwing a quarterback in there that they didn't game plan for, because that was one adjustment that threw Dallas completely off.
It sure looked like it, didn't it? Because it was instant.
They game plan for Jane Daniels. They did not game plan for Mariota. And there's no film out there really on Mariota recently. So like it was like, oh, so they didn't really know what was coming at them. Those guys were on their heels. And the more and more Mariota was successful, the more they were scrambling for a solution.
Yeah. And they couldn't Zaccheaus came alive in the second half.
Yeah, and so you can definitely tell whenever there's second team reps, Zaccheaus must be in some of those things because their timing was a little bit better on. But I'm surprised. I'm really surprised at how well Mariota executed.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't get a lot of first team reps.
Yep.
And to be able to get his timing on with McLaurin and stuff like that, like he did.
So, Coach, explain to me why we didn't get our other two RBs involved in the game.
That's a good question. I don't have a good answer for you there. It's almost as if one of the adjustments that they made was running game's not working, so we're just going to go one-dimensional. Screw it.
Why wouldn't you pull out both your guys who've been hurt and put your backups in?
When we have throughout the year, when we have put in Chris Rodriguez, when we have put in McNichols, they haven't been bad.
Right.
So, like, why? I agree with you. Like, why wouldn't you do it? Like, but they obviously, for whatever reason, they just decide, screw the run game. We're just going to freaking start airing it out.
Yeah. Well,
maybe because we were behind the whole game.
Even when I'm behind, I still run the ball. You know, we do that in Madden, right? You look at me all the time. You're like, Sarge, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm running the ball. Wait a minute, you're 21 points down. We can't run the ball. No, I'm running the ball.
Right.
I got Montgomery and Gibbs. I'm running the ball in Madden, right? Until I can.
When you play with the Lions, you got two running backs and you got a good, Lions offensive line's a lot better than the Commander's offensive line.
But there's on special teams we had one major flub. The only time McCaffrey got his name mentioned the entire game was he stepped in front of Crowder and calls that flub. Otherwise, you didn't see McCaffrey.
Right.
He didn't catch a ball. He didn't return a ball. He didn't do it. He wasn't in the game plan at all. I'm just like, did you go in with a minimal game plan? Are you going to spread it around?
Right, yeah.
They even had Rodriguez back for a catch instead of McCaffrey. I'm like, stop changing your special teams receivers. Leave them the same.
Right.
Oh, I was frustrated.
Defensively, though, I did like to see Jonathan Allen back in there, and he'll get his legs underneath him a little bit more. He's in there. Believe me, Jonathan Allen, for those of y'all been tracking it who are watching this, he's been so frustrated with this team over the past few years because we're not winning. Now that we're winning and stuff like that, believe me, he's going to be hungry against Tampa Bay.
I think you're right.
And some of these other guys are like so on fire. This team has been built this year off of hype. Like they've been like a real hyped up team.
Woo, yes.
And so they are going to go down to Tampa and they're going to be freaking fired up.
Well, this game is in Tampa.
It's in Tampa. Yeah.
Oh, well, it's even better for the revenge game, right? We go beat them on their home turf.
So chances are
we have a better record than Tampa. How come we have to go play in their field? How come they're not coming to us?
Because they're a higher seed. They're the 4th seed. We're the 6th seed.
That's right. They're higher. They made higher. Yeah.
So they get the home field advantage for that game. So it's going to be in Tampa. I live in Florida. I am contemplating on driving down.
I might have to fly down for that one next week myself.
I'm just afraid. Like I'm afraid to look because I thought about it all day. But I'm afraid to look at the prices of tickets.
It's going to be $500 for a nosebleed seat, I'm sure, in that stadium.
And I don't sit in nosebleed sections. I'm a little bit of a snob that way. So like, I'm going to want good seats, and good seats are probably going to be stupid and out of my price range.
We got to look at it, Coach. I got to see what a visitor side seat costs down there to sit on the Commander. Somewhere near the 30-yard line. It's going to be about $800, I bet.
It probably is, and I really don't want to spend that kind of money.
Oh.
I might just end up at the bar over here and watch the game and freaking talk to our fans, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I get some subscribers when I go over there sometimes. So
I can't tell you how, Lady Luck has been shining on us. We have had the light of Lady Luck on top of us.
Yeah.
When we needed it most, right? There have been 4 games that we won in the last minute that we shouldn't have won. I mean, and the Bears really kicked it. But I mean, wow, Lady Luck. But Lady, you have to work for luck, right? And this team is working.
They're working.
Right? They're working. They're earning their luck. I can't say, that was just a lucky play and Mariota, threw the ball up. It was just a lucky shot. No, it was a perfect ball to the perfect receiver with a perfect catch, right? Who wanted it. They made their luck.
So I will also tell you, like, I'm not a big luck kind of guy, but I will tell you, like, this team has holes.
Yeah.
And offensively and defensively, there's issues with this football team. It is not, like, well put together. But one of the things that I will give this team credit for it is, man, they are resilient as all get out.
They don't give up.
Like, they're going to keep fighting down to the last second. Like, they are going to fight. Yep. And they're going to fight and fight and fight. And that's what I love about this team. Like, you cannot count these guys out because
you'd make a mistake.
They will fight all the way to the end.
You'll lose the game if you count them out.
That's right. You will lose. They'll do the Hail Mary at the end, or they'll do something like the obvious play to Terry McLaurin in the corner, whatever. And they're just going to come down with it.
Here it comes. See if you can beat us. No, you can't.
No, you can't. And we're the one jumping up and down.
I love that kind of like, we're just not going to quit. We're going to find a way to beat you no matter what it takes.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Lions this year.
The Lions are different because the Lions have better talent.
Well, they did on defense for a while until they lost 18 players on injured reserve.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to do.
Found a way to keep winning.
Your Lions team is a more complete football team.
Yeah.
The issue with the Lions was what you just said. Defensively, they just got
decimated,
really beat up bad. But they're a complete football team. The Commanders are not. We really are not. We have a lot of issues, a lot of holes, and we have to play above our ability in some areas.
Coach, the big question. I'm going to put this in a poll for all you that are out there. I want you to answer.
Question. Let's hear it.
How are we going to stop Baker Mayfield?
So
is Lattimore going to play?
Don't know about Lattimore.
Do we have a shutdown for Evans?
I will tell you, Lattimore, I think, is relatively healthy. I think they purposely kept him out this week. I think he could have played. So Lattimore, I think, will play. Whether he plays every defensive down, not sure. I guess it kind of depends on how well he does. If you get to the playoffs like we are, that he has the ability that if he's healthy, he can shut down half the football field. When he's not, he has a tendency to freaking grab and hold and get 3 pass interference calls on you.
Oh my God, yes.
Right? So like you want him to freaking have his head in the game and you want him playing his best football and be healthy out there because the dude is a beast when he goes on that. But if he's not there, that's where they're going to have to, now that they've known this about him a little bit and they've learned him a little bit, I certainly learned him a little bit now, that you got to play him and you got to say, is he shutting stuff down or is he getting in trouble out there? If he's getting in trouble out there, pull him.
We don't beat Tampa Bay without Lattimore.
I think
we have to stop. We have to stop. We don't beat Tampa Bay without Lattimore. Just not.
I think Sinistro could surprise you a little bit. I think with Jeremy Shinn, if they bracket Lee Evans in particular, the problem you're going to have is they also have Goodwin. So that means
that's what I mean. They got too many weapons.
St. Juice was atrocious this past week. He was horrible. So
he
like
better in the second half. He like woke up I looked at the couple plays I got to see in the first half. I was like, dear God, another arm tackle. Oh my God, dude. Or do you even have half a clue? But in the second half, he seemed to be much more accurate in his tackling. He seemed to be much more on point.
Here's how we know that we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
If we put Michael Davis out there in corner, game's over.
Yeah.
We will lose. Michael Davis cannot cover Goodwin nor Mike Evans.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you that right now. He can't do it.
I agree.
So
We
like,
get our lunch all day long if that happens.
but if we can put some pressure, like good pass rush on Baker Mayfield, but still try to contain him a little bit, and we can. I think we can do it. We've gone up against very mobile quarterbacks all year, so we can do it. We face Jalen Hurts twice a year. You know, we had to go.
Well, Burrow's a little bit depleted.
You know, we are a little depleted, but like I think we could be okay.
And Tampa Bay isn't.
Tampa Bay will put up points.
Oh,
we just have to execute offensively.
So what's more important for us, to shut down the run or shut down the pass?
Shut down the pass.
Okay. So you think that's the game plan going in, shut down the pass? I'm going to agree with you.
Shut down the pass.
We're going to let them run all they want. We'll hope we'll get them rush up through the middle, but we got to shut down the pass.
We got to shut down the pass because they're going to score on us through the passing game.
Yeah, Jack is saying Evans got barely 100 yards in the first game against us, and that was without Lattimore. So, yeah, right. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. We played a hell of a defensive game, but it's a different time of season now.
It is, and I will agree with Jack. Like, we can win this game, but I will tell you what, we cannot have a slow start like we did with Dallas. We can't we can't just be a second half team. We got to play 60 minutes of football, not just a half of football.
Yeah. We don't want to play from behind. No,
I want to go out there the very first quarter and just punch them in the mouth.
We need to get a first quarter score. We need to put something on the board. We need red zone efficiency. We need third down efficiency. Yeah. We need to get the ball through.
And I will tell you, Jack, you know this. I will tell Jack that you know this, Jack. I will tell Large Sarge that you know this. Shaq, if you're listening, I'll tell you know this. Like, momentum is everything in the playoffs. So, like, as soon as you can establish it, you establish it and you hold on to it for all dear life. Like, you want old momentum to stay on your sideline. That's how you win playoff games.
Coach, should we be taking any fourth down and short chances early in the game?
Dan
Quinn has done a couple. It's paid off for us.
Yeah, I mean, if it's on their side of the 50.
Yeah.
Like, if it's on our side of 50, hell no, punt the ball.
Right.
If it's on their side, it really depends on where the scoreboard is. I don't mind going for it if we're up. When we're behind, I'm a little less hesitant on it because I start calculating points in my head, like how important is 3 points right now. And there's a lot of times I'm just like, kick the field goal, get 3 points up on the board, and then I'll take the next series.
Like last night's game with Detroit and the Vikings when Campbell was down and they were on the 10-yard line. And you and me are both talking to each other going, take the 3 points. He's like, no, I'm going for it on fourth. And they throw a touchdown.
Yeah, so but we also saw them.
They had the talent to do it, but
yeah, but we also saw them last year in the playoffs do that, and they didn't get it.
Yep.
And we're like, why didn't you use your freaking kicker? You know, Badgley's a great kicker. Use him.
I don't think Dan Quinn's going to make that mistake.
I think Dan Campbell can't help himself. Dan Quinn, I think, is a little bit more like, should I or shouldn't I? And maybe he's got people talking on his headset. And maybe it's Kingsbury asking permission. Hey, should we go for it here? And they're talking about it. I know if it was Dan Campbell is just like, we're going for it. Like, that's his go-to answer.
He's a meathead. I think Dan Quinn is more of a, do I have the momentum and can I get this done? Do we have the right play call? It's going to change the momentum. I think he's smarter, Dan Quinn. Yeah. I think,
and maybe he's worked on a couple of those short yards plays in practice, and if they worked real well and he feels confident with it, he'll be like, "Yeah, we're going to call it," right? But those two coaches are very different coaches.
So on offense, who has to have a standout game for us to win? Give me the top 3 players.
Top 3 players. Zach Ertz has to have a big game. I will tell you, like, if we really get Zach Ertz going, that's going to help open a lot of other things. Obviously, Terry McLaurin's the obvious guy, but I really want to see somebody else step up, whether, and so it tells me, like, before I would always tell you it was Noah Brown, but he's on IR. So now, De'Ami Brown is not going to be the guy that really steps up. He'll get a couple balls here and there. It's really got to be Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus has got to be a guy who's willing to, he's got to get above 5 receptions in this game.
Yeah.
He's got to be somewhere around the 7+ receptions in this game for us to have a very good offense off of that. But then I think the other one's just Jaden Daniels. He's got to be smart about his decisions. Throw the ball out. Don't take the necessary lost yardage. Be careful when you're running the ball because playoff football, they want to knock your freaking head off. So you better slide, be smart with it, keep your head downfield, look for those balls, and then you're going to be okay. I would like to see them establish a run game with Brian Robinson, but we don't know how that's going to look because, again, our O-line's atrocious.
Yeah. So Jack says Daniels, Oz, and Ertz. So I'm going to blow both of you away. Here's my top 3 need to have a great game for us to win against Tampa Bay. Brian Robinson, number 1.
Okay. Brian Robinson, number 1. Interesting.
Eckler, number 2.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Jaden Daniels, number 3.
Okay. Yep, I'm good with that.
I think if we don't produce – if we can produce 100 yards rushing from our running back core anywhere on that field, I think we have a great chance to win the game because it means our play calling is good. And if we just keep pounding the rock, we can wear them down and open up the play action and open up Jaden to pass. I think that's the secret to crack them.
No, I think that's respectable, Large Sarge. I think I could see that. That's good analysis right there. So
I think if we come out and try to pass and just pass and pass, I think we're gonna have another flub ass first half like we just had against Dallas.
Yeah, and if we go that well, we will lose this game.
We need double tight end sets. We need to pull everyone in and put as many guys in the backfield as possible and put some bodies in front of holes and let B-Rob and Eckler do what they do. And if it's not going to be B-Rob going up the middle or off tackle, then it's going to be Eckler as a relief, on short yardage catch, right?
Right.
So that's the key to the game.
Yeah, so I do have the spread. It's Tampa Bay with 3.
3 points. Yeah, it's close.
3-point game. Tampa Bay's favorite.
27.5 points a game, no matter how ugly it is.
So
we're in the top 5 in the league in scoring. So
when I hear somebody favored by 3, to me it's basically even.
Yep.
Right. So we can win this game. I think we got to go out there.
No turnovers.
And every coach and everybody always talks about no turnovers. And that's a big part of it. To me, we do know that we have a lot of weaknesses on this team, so we got to game plan not only for the other team, but how do we cover the gaps that we know that we have?
Yep.
Right? The holes that we have. How do we mitigate them exploiting our weaknesses as bad as they could be possibly exploited?
Yep. We got to man up, Coach. We got to man up and put more bodies in the box and tell them that's what we're doing. And we got to man up and push them out of the way. That's what we got to do. And we got to establish that and just say, look, we're going to push you around. And
sometimes
we're going to throw play action. We're going to hit a slant or we're going to hit Scary Terry deep on you. We're going to go over the top when you don't expect it. And boom, we're going to score. And we stay with it.
There's a way to do that, right? Because there's something that this team's done and demonstrated a few times through the year, and that is these very, very long sustained drives.
Yes.
We've done that. We've had 6, 7 minute, 8-minute drives that have gone like double-digit plays. That have worn defenses down. And to your point, if you can do that on a couple of things, then people start cheating up in the box. And that's when you go over the top on them to Terry McLaurin. Or even De'Ami Brown, because De'Ami Brown has the ability to get deep on you too.
You want to hear something funny about this game that we just won against Dallas?
What's that?
First of all, we only had 5 penalties. Our third down conversion was only 46%.
That's not so great.
And our time of possession was only 22 minutes. Dallas had more time of possession than we did, but they had more penalties.
So, we are better when we control the time of possession for sure.
Exactly. So we still came out with a win, albeit at the last second, but with stats clearly not favoring us, right?
Yeah. We basically played a half of a football game.
Yeah.
And the concerning part is it wasn't when Jaden Daniels was in the game.
Yep.
So, obviously they got work to do this week in practice. And then we really need to see what the injury reports are. So I want to tell the fans that are still listening, we are going to do another show later on this week because it's playoff week. We want to compare a little bit more of what things look like when we have the injury report. We want to pull the brackets out. And what do you think, Sarge? Is this week we want to bring in our preseason bracket and compare it to the current bracket?
Oh, for sure.
Let's do that this week. All
Well,
right.
let's go to the bracket that you prepare already. Where we stand right now. Let's see what it looks like right now.
Yeah. So the way it looks like right now, here it is. Hold on. There it is, buddy.
Whew. Got the Vikings going to LA. My Lions won. Oh, my God. And we got the 6th seed. Who would have predicted we got 6th seed?
Well, we were sitting in the 6th seed for a couple of weeks, but we thought we were either going to go up against Philly or the Rams. And because the seeding changed between the Rams and Tampa Bay was able to move up into the 3rd seed that, we're not playing the Rams anymore. We're playing Tampa Bay. So here it goes. Very unpredictable, but here we are. And
question. So the Rams rested all their starters this week.
That's right.
To get ready. Do they beat the Vikings after that put down the Lions put on them? Do they beat the Vikings or the Vikings went out?
Ooh, that's going to be an interesting game. I'm not real quite sure.
I'm going for LA. I think LA's
going to go for LA too because I'm not going to bet against Sean McVay. He was smart to rest the starters. Jack mentioned that
and they beat him once already.
And and I think that's going to be a really. I mean, you look at all these games. I mean, look at the NFC. I don't even want to look at the AFC right now. But if you look at that, like, this is great football. The Vikings against the Rams is going to be amazing. The Commanders against Tampa Bay is going to be the rematch. Is going to be amazing. Philly against Green Bay. That's going to be an amazing game.
That's actually the matchup that I wanted for Philly. That's
like
I wanted.
Like, don't be thrown off by Philly being the 2nd seed and Green Bay being the 7th seed. That's going to be a freaking hard-fought game.
Oh, my Lord. I think Philly's got all they can handle with Green Bay.
Ooh. Yeah, and then, okay, let's take a moment. Let's talk about the AFC. And I want to start from the bottom up. The number 2 seed's Buffalo going up against Denver. You don't think that's going to be a tough game? That's going to be a tough game. Forget how they're seeded. That's going to be a tough game.
With Denver smacking the Chiefs for 38-0. The only eggshell they've had that bad since he's been a coach, Andy Reid.
And then you have the Ravens playing the Steelers.
Oh
my God.
Rematch. I cannot wait for that game.
And then how about the Texans against the Chargers?
Who are you calling on that game, there, Coach? Who are you calling? I'm calling Chargers.
I'm going Chargers just because I'm a Jim Harbaugh fan.
I'm going Chargers. So they have a better team.
I'm a little biased because, like, I like Jim Harbaugh because I really wanted him so badly when he left Michigan to be our head coach in Washington.
Yeah.
But, like, he is one guy that I'm like, I love him because he is a smash mouth, old school kind of dude. And he won in Michigan doing it. And he's winning with the Chargers here because the Chargers sucked last year.
Yes, they did.
Comes in and brings old school football back and whips these guys in the football shape to do it, and it works. I love it when old school football still works.
Houston's been too inconsistent. While the Chargers are while they're not perfect, they've been more consistent. They're going to win the game.
Yeah,
it's gonna be Chargers and the Chiefs.
And Houston was the Cinderella story last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still a great football team this year, but I think the buzz around them's over. Right. So I think Chargers got that one. I will tell you all of these games though are going to be so great to watch.
Oh my Lord. It's going to be,
I'm going to be glued to the TV to watch every one of these.
It's going to be the best week ever. Steelers versus Ravens. The rivalry matchup is going to be insane. And who would have thought Denver and Buffalo, for Lord's sake?
And, it don't count.
Buffalo just got their asses handed to them this week.
Now, let me say something for the fans that are still on here, right? My preseason prediction for the Super Bowl is the number 2 seeds on this chart. I had Philly against Buffalo in my preseason thing going to the Super Bowl. I am still on track for that.
Could happen.
It could still happen. And for those who remember my preseason prediction, which we'll look at that at the end of the week,
not looking as
I had
clear
Buffalo
as it did
win
at the
the
beginning
Super
of
Bowl
the
for the
year.
first time.
It's not looking as clear as it did at the beginning of the year.
Doesn't look as clear, but like I wasn't saying that they would be number 1 seeds.
Right, exactly.
And I find it interesting that they're both number 2 seeds. Like those are both dominant teams that clearly are at the top here. What my prediction was that that Dan Campbell would screw it up for the Lions, and then I said Taylor Swift would be crying.
Good prediction.
And then I said Taylor Swift would be crying. Remember that?
Yep.
Both of those things could still happen.
So what do you think? What do you think the chances are the Lions meet the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? What do you think the chances are now? The two number one teams meeting in the Super Bowl. Yeah.
I think I don't have them going to the Super Bowl.
Huh?
I'm sticking by it. I don't have them going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think it looks really good for those two to meet in the Super Bowl. We'll see.
For who?
Chiefs, Lions, Super Bowl.
It's the number one seed.
The Lions just hurt the Vikings so bad yesterday that I literally was in shock. I literally on the third red zone try, and they couldn't get a touchdown against a beat up defense with albeit Anzalone in there. I was like, you know what, my Lions are going to do something that no one expects them to do, despite Dan Campbell's stupidity. And they're now the number one seed with a bye week to get healthy with more guys back. I think the Lions might actually do this. I wasn't a believer.
I think you want the Lions to do it.
Well, of course I want, but instead of being 45, to 55% chance, I'm kind of like 55 to 45. Like, I think they're the team to beat in the NFC. I think that's the team to beat, even over Philly.
I don't.
You can't outscore them.
Yeah, I don't. I have so low confidence in Dan Campbell not to screw it up.
I'm with you.
I just guarantee you he's going to make a bonehead fourth down call that's going to cost him the game.
It's so possible.
It's just his character. He's going to do it in a time that makes no damn sense, and he's going to screw it up.
Yep.
But people still are going to love him in Detroit, and he's going to come back again next year.
And somehow, I just don't know how it's going to work out. God love Buffalo. I would love to see him get a Super Bowl just because they deserve it. They've been to the dance so many times and walked away with empty-handed, right? I'd love to see it finally put a nail in the coffin and say Buffalo won a freaking Super Bowl. I don't see how anyone gets past the Chiefs on the AFC.
I do. I think the Chiefs are going to screw this up. There's been no team in NFL history that's won 3 in a row.
I know.
I will tell you, I don't think the Chiefs are going to be it. I don't think the Chiefs are as good as they were last year. So
better, actually.
I actually don't.
And they're resting. They're resting.
I get that, but like when I think Pittsburgh,
I did not expect Denver to be 38-0 against their second team. The only guys that were out was Mahomes, Kelsey, and Jones.
Yeah,
and Denver came in and put 38 points up on the board against them. I was kind of like, oh my Lord.
I think Pittsburgh, I think Baltimore, I think Buffalo, I think all those teams could beat them.
Yes.
So, again, this is going to be great football to watch, man. Because we don't know. We don't know. So, we got to watch the games, man. I will tell you that there's going to be a shocker, though, this wild card weekend. There's going to be a shocker. I don't know who's going to be it, but there's going to be somebody on here that's going to shock somebody.
Who are you calling, Green Bay or Philly?
Oh, well, of course I'm going to call Philly. But I wouldn't be surprised if Green Bay shocks him.
I'm going to call Green Bay in an upset. They're pissed off. Green Bay's soft. Philly's soft.
Only because I'm going to stick by my prediction. Only because I'm going to stick by my prediction. I think Philly's going to go to the show.
So if LA wins out and Green Bay wins out and we win out, who do we play? Who do the Redskins play?
So you see the number of the seeding, right?
Yeah.
So those seedings stay the same through the whole playoffs.
Oh, that's how it works.
The only way we get home field advantage is if we play against Green Bay. Otherwise, we got to do it on the road the whole way.
So if Green Bay wins out, we win, we get Green Bay at home.
We would get Green Bay at home.
Oh, we got to go to that game. You'll be here.
That would be the conference champion.
Oh, it'd be the second time we went to Green Bay in the Skins in the playoffs.
Yeah, we lost that one. Aaron Rodgers tore us apart.
We hung our head between our legs. It was so bad.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers
Nice
tore
as
us
the
apart,
pieces.
man, in that
Oh
game.
my God, that was what, 7 years ago? Oh my
Yeah,
Lord.
but like the only way we'd play Green Bay would be in the conference championship game, and the winner would go to the Super Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that game would be in Washington. Otherwise, we're a low seed. We're on the road, dude.
Yeah, we're on the road. Yeah.
So
Well, hey.
we're like your Lions. Your Lions got home field advantage for the whole playoff.
Yeah.
And same thing with the Chiefs. That's home field advantage throughout.
I didn't think the Lions would make it that far. I thought that game last night was going to be so much closer and come down to a last-minute walk-off field goal kind of thing. I just can't believe the defense showed up like it did and shut them down. I was like, wow. That was a game plan from hell from the Lions side of the ball.
Yeah.
Just completely put them off. So, yay. But
here's another thing I'm going to tell you about your Lions. Your Lions sometimes play better on the road, dude.
Yeah, for sure, right? Although that was last year. This year, they're better at home.
Are they better at home?
Yeah, this year. Yeah, this year.
Well, this is interesting, though, man. So, yeah, we're going to do a show later on at the end of this thing, and we'll see how that goes. I'm going to put it together. I'll give you my notes. We'll see how this is going. But for all you football fans out there, please pay attention to the show that we're going to have later on in the week, because we're going to do another one. I think we might do it on Thursday or Friday. We'll figure it out. We'll get it out. And so pay attention. If you're subscribed, you'll get the message in your email. Hey, the show's getting ready to come on.
Hey, Jack is saying Green Bay versus Detroit and Washington versus the Rams. That could totally happen, Jack. I could totally see that.
Ooh, I like that, actually.
Oh,
I would love to see Washington play Detroit, dude.
Yeah, another divisional rival. I'd love to see a smack.
Because you're right. Like, we're so low seeded that if we win, we might have to play the Lions.
Yeah.
Dude, we got that. I would love that so much for the Commanders to play the Lions.
I would lose my mind.
Oh my God, that'd be such a great divisional round.
Who to vote for? I'd lose my mind. Oh my God.
You would go for your Lions.
I would go for the Lions. Yeah, come on.
I would definitely go for the Commanders.
Redskins, Smedskins. I'm going for the freaking Lions against the Redskins. Let's not even play.
And we would do another show for that, and I'd make you dress in your Lions gear.
Oh Lord, yeah, I'd have to.
And we would haze Lard Sarge the whole time because his number one team is the Lions.
I would have to, but I love my Redskins, man. I love my Redskins. So.
That's true. Jack just said, like, the 1991 NFC Championship game was the Lions, and I remember that. And guess who won? The Washington Redskins won that game because we went on to win the Super Bowl.
Yep. That was a long time ago, man. Barry Sanders era. No, that was after Barry. Barry Sanders wasn't even playing then.
Was he?
Nope.
No, I think he wasn't he?
Was he in the?
Yeah, he was there.
Was he there? That was Barry Sanders era?
Yeah.
He got out in the 90s. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he was there.
Oh, it could totally happen. This could wind up being another rematch like that.
And we had Ricky Irvins, and we had the posse back then.
Yeah.
Gary Clark, Art Monk, Ricky Sanders, and we had Mark Ripken in that as our quarterback.
What a crazy, crazy time. It's amazing to think about. It's amazing to think about. I'm going to have to go back and pull up NFL.com and watch that game just to see.
Heck yeah.
All right, Coach.
We need to make sure Jack gets the message of when we're going to do this show. When do we have a time when we're going to do the show? We're going to do it.
But we need to nail it down.
Let's just nail it down now, so Jack at least gets the word. All right. Let's say Friday at the same time.
Let's do Friday.
Friday, same time. We're good with that?
Yeah.
All right, Jack. So Friday, same time, we're going to do another live stream. We're going to do this one. We're going to do this because by then we're going to have injury reports out. We're going to compare our preseason brackets. We're going to talk about much, and we'll know more how this team's really sitting and because we'll catch news throughout the week of like how well they're preparing for this, and I'll know whether or not I'm getting on the road or not.
Yeah.
To go see this game.
Yeah.
Right now it's scheduled for 1:00 game on Sunday, this coming Sunday in Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Washington Redskins, Washington Commanders. So until then, baby, this is Football Psych, man. We are out of here.
We are all
HTTR, baby. HTTR.